stay tuned because for the next 60 minutes, Motorsports Unlimited is on the air. Hi, I'm Jerry Bryant, and these are the lovely ladies of motorsports. And all this hour, we're going to have 60 minutes of action-packed excitement. All kinds of exciting things will happen. And we got the famous Bill Wildt, and we got all kinds of other good stuff that's happening all this hour. Motorsports Unlimited, 60 minutes of non-stop action. So let's go to the studio right now, huh?
Thanks, Jerry, and hi, everybody. Welcome to the studio headquarters of Chicagoland's most watched, most talked about Access Television series. I'm Samantha Bentley, and this is the 1101st edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Today, we bring you part 3 of our motorcycle road trip adventure to eastern Kentucky. If you'll recall, in part 1, Bill and May departed the Chicago area near O'Hare Airport and proceeded toward Indiana on Interstate 294 until they got to 394, where they turned south. Then it was east on Route 30 across Indiana to Route 31, where he and May headed south and got as far as Kokomo before ending day 1 and part 1. Next day, they left Kokomo and headed south on Route 31. They bypassed Indianapolis on I-465 and picked up I-74 southeast of Indianapolis. They took I-74 to 421. They took 421 all the way to Frankfort, Kentucky, which happens to be the capital. Then they jumped on I-64 for a few miles until they found 60, where they departed the interstate and rode 60 through Lexington, Kentucky. After Lexington, it was back on I-64 until they got to Burt Combs Mountain Parkway. Bill and May got off the parkway when they spotted the Slade Kentucky exit and found their way to the Lil Amber Hotel, where the rally they were attending for the Suzuki GSX1100G motorcycle was being held. Last week, we showed you a number of interviews Bill taped at the rally and promised we'd have a few more this week. Let's get started by finishing up the interviews of the GSX1100G riders attending the rally.
Okay, I know the audience is all looking at me right now and say, Bill, you're a liar. Those things you said, they were red and gray and black. Only in red, gray, and black. And look at this beautiful yellow one. Well, there's a story behind this, and we're going to find out about it. First of all, you are?
Tom Wilson from Durham, North Carolina.
Durham, boy, that sounds like a long way. How many miles?
We're 400 miles away. Me and a friend rode up together.
Pretty cool. First time at a G gathering?
This is my third.
Third one, so you're a real G-man then.
Well, not quite. Almost.
Okay, let's start with your bike. Let's start with the year.
This is a 92.
Okay, 92. They made them, as we said, 91, 92, and 93, and they made them in black and maroon and gray, and this one isn't either of those. What happened?
I bought this bike up in New Jersey, brought it home, was very careful in tying it down when I was up in New Jersey, and was used some cam ties, which is what I normally use as cam ties, and these were ratchet, and one of the ratchets let go when I got home in the garage as I was trying to relieve the compression on the springs. And it was late at night, tired, and the bike was pulled over really quickly, and the entire tank got smashed in on the left-hand side. It was a space black initially, and I thought, well, as long as it's got this damage, I might as well try to paint it to match another bike I have, which is what I did. And this is a pearl yellow color is what it is.
Well, it's absolutely gorgeous, and I must say they did you can tell when something is a really good job because it looks like it wasn't done. This looks factory.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks
I didn't
factory.
do it.
Even the decals, everything looks factory.
Well, we bought decals from Suzuki and tank decals, the little rear decals, rear tail decals, and the side cover decals. They're all Suzuki.
What else have you done to the bike?
Not really that much else other than took the carburetors off, cleaned them, new O-rings, new gaskets for the float bowls.
How about the windshield? I know that's not Suzuki.
A little national windshield, yes.
And I know that seat is not Suzuki.
That's a Corbin seat that happens to belong to my son, whose G I brought back from New York for him, and he's not here now, and so I thought I'd borrow his Corbin seat.
Now, do you like it? See, I'm a guy that's got a Corbin seat, and I keep trying to talk myself into it, and every time I put it on, it stays on for 1 or 2 days, and it's so hard I can't stand it. Now, how say you?
There are not very many people who are ambiguous in terms of their opinions about a Corbin.
That's exactly. I'm trying to get the love side.
Yeah, I enjoy mine. I use these beads from Bead Rider on mine, which are a big help in the summertime. It keeps things nice and cool down there, and you can move around much easier on the seat with those beads on them.
Why a G? What prompts you to have such an interest in a motorcycle that hasn't been made in 15 years?
Well, it is big, it is fast, and it is smooth.
He's reading it off here, and everybody says about fast. They are fast.
Oh yeah, they're
kind of unparalleled.
Yeah, breathtakingly fast.
Okay, last question. You had a nice ride coming here. Anything adventurous that you'd think the audience would find interesting?
Up here in this area?
No, your trip coming here.
Oh, my trip, uneventful, thank goodness.
That's the best kind, isn't it?
It is.
Even uneventful, they're adventures.
And just a beautiful ride. We rode on Virginia 16, which is a beautiful ride from above Interstate 81 to Tazewell, and that's as pretty a ride as you'd want. It's very, very nice.
And when it comes right down to it, quite frankly, that's really what motorcyclists are really about, is beautiful rides, beautiful scenery. And you hear that from all of these guys when they're talking off camera.
I like the yellow. It reminds me of Ferrari yellow. I know, Ferraris are red, but we've encountered several at car shows that are yellow. And Tom's yellow G reminds me of a Ferrari yellow. Hi, I'm Janine Lauschat. Next, Bill found a man at the G Rally everyone said is a dyed-in-the-wool G-man, but he wasn't riding a G.
I have a trader, folks. That's the reason we're shooting over his motorcycle instead of at his motorcycle. However, I see his name frequently on the website, on the G forum. So apparently you had one at one time or something. We're going to get the story. First of all, you are.
I'm John Boyd.
And where are you from, John?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, you had a G.
I had a G, and
How
it
long?
was a super bike. Probably 2.5 years.
Oh, you had it for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, but we don't have it on camera. He's got a BMW now, and what prompted the switch?
I was helping the BMW guy out. He had was taking delivery on a Ducati, and I saw an opportunity to really help a fellow biker. So I bought the BMW for a very good
there,
price.
But go ahead. I don't think you did him any favors.
Well, I gave him some cash to put toward his Ducati.
But yet, you're still come to the G rallies, and you still participate in the G forum and everything, so the G must have a special place in your heart.
G's a great bike. It really is. I probably still own it, except for some reason my wife thought 3 bikes was a little excessive.
Oh, I know guys with 10 and 15.
I do too.
Yeah, that's
but I decided I was going to try to stay married.
Okay, if you want to do that, then okay. Yeah,
that's how it works.
If that's an option, all right.
Yeah.
So where did you come from? What?
Columbus, Ohio. Originally grew up in Virginia.
No, I mean the ride coming here?
Oh, the ride came down from Columbus.
Down from Columbus. Ride with these other guys? We seem to have a lot of guys from Columbus here.
Yeah, they used to call it the G spot of the country. I'm not sure they can claim it anymore.
Not for you anymore.
Yeah, well, but my bike's still in Columbus.
Now, you're involved with the medical profession, and that's how I first actually got to know you. You have something that you really think people ought to do or have.
We've got a product that allows people to have their entire medical history with them on a flash drive, and also allows them to have it on the web in an emergency capsule for if they're in an accident, that right on their gear they've got a little aluminum capsule that has their primary medical information in it.
Isn't it interesting how the internet has really changed the world?
It has indeed.
Yeah, and mostly in good ways, in my opinion.
I think so.
Yeah,
on balance, it has.
There's no question they're scoundrels, but on balance, I think it's really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for spending a little time with us. Anything adventurous happen on the way down? Now, did the guys with the G's let you ride with them, or did you have to ride behind them?
I had to ride back.
Yeah,
an appropriate
and
distance.
quite frankly, if they decided to do that, you wouldn't have a choice.
Oh, all right.
That's
I'll give you that one.
Bill, there are other good bikes too. Leave John alone. Now, let's meet a G-man who came a long way, and he's got a long way to go.
Well, with a hat like this, the guy's not from Chicago or around the Chicago area. As a matter of fact, they won't even let him into the Virginia area. First of all, you are?
Eric
what?
Mahach.
And where are you from, Eric?
Aurora, Colorado, right outside Denver.
Colorado. He rode the G from Colorado. Have I got it right?
Actually, I'm riding it back to Colorado. I went, I put it in the back of my truck and brought it down to Dallas to meet my friend. He was the Harley guy that was here.
Okay, and so what, you guys rode up here from...
We rode up here from Dallas.
That's a long haul.
Yes.
How many miles?
That was 1,100 or so going through Louisville like we did.
Okay, so you picked up your bike in Dallas and you rode it up here somewhat 1,100 miles?
Well, yep.
And now you're going to ride it back to Colorado?
That's correct.
That's got to be close to a couple thousand? No.
Yeah, I'll be 1,300 on the way back.
How old are you?
I am 38 years old.
I guess you can still get away with it. Your butt isn't killing you?
Oh, yeah, it hurts.
Even at your age?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about your G. What have we got here?
This is a 91 G. I bought it off a guy for, believe it or not, $600 a couple years ago.
I believe it because these are wonderful bargains, and those of us that are devoted to them and care about them and everything sometimes stumble on some incredible bargains. People don't appreciate them.
That's true. He didn't know exactly what he had and just wanted to get rid of it so he could move. And so I picked it up, did a little bit of work here and there on it, but it's been one of the most reliable bikes I've ever had, if not the most.
And awesomely fast.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't
time I twisted that throttle, I was in love.
Isn't that a rush? You've got flat bars on.
I do. I'm debating with some people whether that's stock or not. I don't think it is.
What, yours?
Yeah.
No, that's definitely not stock.
Okay. All right. Well.
Stock, they rise about 7 inches.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I actually thought that these were the stock ones up until I got here. So.
Okay, and no windshield.
I did actually ride with a windshield. It's in the room.
Oh, I was going to say it's got to
doing the twisties.
I was going to say you got to be dying without a windshield 1,100 miles.
Yeah, that would beat me up.
It sure would.
No, it's essential.
Okay, and you use a magnetic tank bag. Any problem with the tank bag moving around?
Nope. Actually, it sits about this high, and I load it up pretty good, and it actually stays there really well.
And what we're talking about, folks, is these are the tank bags. On a motorcycle, space is always of the essence. It's absolutely, I don't care how much space you got, you need more. And these tank bags actually take up a lot of empty space between your arms and above your chest, and they make them very expandable. That's what he's talking about, where they get higher and higher and higher as you load them. And there's two different ways. Mine's got straps that go around the tank, and these things hook to the bag hooks to the straps. This one's got magnets that stick to the tank, and I was just wondering, is it secure enough that way?
Very much so.
Okay,
it has a safety strap just in case. In case it gets away from you, you clip this in.
Just in case. But you haven't had occasion to...
Nope, it's never moved.
Okay, anything else? Oh, you got the factory backrest rack, I see. And great backrest, almost useless as a rack, though.
Yeah, pretty much. I actually, and you might be able to see this tonight, built a platform for it to give a little more useful.
To give a little more space on it.
But I have to be careful about not overloading it because apparently they don't carry very much weight.
Right, the angle is wrong and all of that kind of stuff. They're beautiful. They were beautifully designed by the factory. They fit the lines of the bike nicely and all that, but they really are as a backrest. They're really not useful for much else. Anyhow, anything interesting happened on the way here from Dallas?
Well, we got all the way to Memphis, and a big thunderstorm moved in, and my friend kind of lost it in one of the curves on his Harley and got it a little muddy, but he managed to keep it up till he got into the mud.
He's okay?
Yeah, the bike's okay. He's okay.
Right. It's always an adventure on a bike, isn't it?
It's always something.
We try hard to explain this to the general public. Our program, Motorsports Unlimited, is for the general public. It's not really for the gearheads. What I try to do with the program is to help the general public understand us. And how do you explain to people that you and I both know that it's harder to go anywhere on a motorcycle than it is in a car? It's much easier in a car. Even relatively simple trips in a car become real adventures on a motorcycle. So why do we do it?
For the love of it. For getting out there and twisting that throttle.
You know, and you're also so much part of the environment. You're not separated from it at all. Every you see a freshly cut mown field, you're inhaling it as you go by it instantly. It's hard to explain to people that don't ride.
It is. You can't really quantify it. You can't put it in words, and you can't transfer it to somebody. They've got to figure it out on their own.
They either have that kind of a feel for it or they don't.
Right.
Well, listen, thanks for spending a little time with us. Good luck on the trip home. That is a ride, boy. I mean, we got a guy here from Singapore, but he flew here. This is different. That's a long ride.
Right. I think the Canadians have me beat. They came from a little further.
You got guys here from Canada, too? I haven't run into them.
We were about to.
I'm about to? Okay, let's do that. Let's meet we got somebody from Canada.
I'm really impressed with the fact that G-men came from all over the country to attend the rally. Colorado is a long way from eastern Kentucky, but not as far as Canada.
Well, I think I may have discovered the distance champion here, but we're going to find out. First of all, you are?
I'm Mike Goldsmith.
Where are you from, Mike?
I'm from Burlington, Ontario, Canada.
Okay, give us an idea. Those of us not familiar with Canada, would that be in the middle, the left, the right?
Southern Ontario, near Toronto.
Okay, people like me don't know where Toronto is. So if we're looking at a big map, would you be over Chicago, over New York, or over Seattle, Washington?
I'm 2.5 hours from Detroit.
Oh, okay, so you're about the middle of the country then.
That's right.
Okay, and how many miles coming down here?
So far we got 1,500.
Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 52.
And you can do it at 52, 1,500 miles.
In stages, yes.
Well
once,
said. I
no.
like that. Well said. Has it been a good adventure?
It's excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
Riding country, we don't have curves like this in our country.
God, I would think Canada would be full of that.
Our roads, you get 3 curves, and that's a nice twisty. So around here, it's
Let me tell you something.
it's all the time.
Let me tell you something I've been talking about since I got down here. When I came down on, at least in Kentucky, I came through 421. Right when I went over the border, 421, I went through 2.5 hours of the most beautiful riding I think I have.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Just
Unbelievable.
amazing.
I don't think there was ever more than a minute in a straight line.
Nope. Everywhere we go, it's been great. The people are great. It's just wonderful.
So it's been a great experience
Absolutely.
for you.
Best thing we've ever done.
First time at the rally?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Always getting the T-shirts. Actually, this isn't one.
So you've been a G-Man for a while, but just never
Absolutely.
attended the rally.
That's correct. John sends me up the T-shirts, but I told him this year we're going to pick them up in person. So.
Okay, tell me about your bike.
My bike's a 93 G. It's got 55,000 miles on it. I've had it since 2008. It had 5,000 on it when I bought it, so I put 50,000 of my own on it.
You ride.
I'm getting out there, yeah.
Boy, yeah, you do ride. Any modifications to it?
The usual junk, the progressive springs. I got a clock. Throttle lock, which is great for distance.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's really good. That's one of the best mods I think we've done is to add the throttle lock because it just gives you something else to do with your hand, and because it's so smooth and so straight, you can take both hands off, for miles in a row if you want to.
It's a rock solid machine.
Yeah,
There's
works
no
great.
Now it's gonna be my question. Why a G? What attracts you to him?
The power.
Yeah, everybody
I like
says the same
power.
thing. That thrust.
Yeah, the weight's a bit of it's we've been testing it pretty good this run, and doing the twisties. She's a bigger girl.
You
She's
bet. It's not a racer. Don't ever think it's got
not a
power of the
sport
racer,
bike.
but it's
That's
not a
right.
racer.
It's not a sport bike, but boy, it's smooth.
It's silky smooth. Now, how about the windshield?
It's a good window, nice and tall. It's a Plexus Star. I think just about everybody here is running the same one. So.
Yeah, high enough for you?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it works well.
Okay. I don't notice any bags or anything.
They're in the house. Yeah.
What have you got? Hard bags or soft?
No, just soft. Pair of sides and a tail bag.
Soft bags work fine.
Yep, they're great. Yep. No problem.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like the audience to know about your ride or your ride down from Canada or about Canada? Knock yourself out.
Just riding with my buddy Big Al, also from the same area. Al's riding a Marauder. It's a little tougher for Al on an 800 Marauder, trying to keep up with the big girls.
Yeah, and if you don't want him to, he won't.
That's true. Sometimes he gets to stay back. But.
By the way, this guy's got a lot of pride in Canada. I'm going to close this shot by showing you a picture of his motel room door.
The G-Men rally was a real pleasure, meeting and talking to people from all over who traveled a great distance to be here was pretty cool. Now let's meet the man we think came the greatest distance.
I have with me another G-Man. It's from a tremendously long distance, and he doesn't look like he's 21 or 22 either, so this must have been a real trip. First of all, you are?
Kurt Nussbaum from Pierre, South Dakota.
Pierre? Did you say Pierre or Pierre?
Pierre.
Pierre, South Dakota. South Dakota.
Yep.
How many miles?
About 2,000 miles to get down.
2,000 miles, and you're still standing.
Yep.
How old are you?
I'm 46.
And you can still do it at 46?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, my back would be killing me if I tried something like that. Tell us about your G. What have you got?
I've got a 93G with about 35,000 miles on it.
Low mileage unit?
Yep. Got a Russell day-long touring saddle on it. And
let's stop there, right there. He's talking about the touring saddle, and this is actually somewhat a point of some controversy with G-Men. I actually like the stock seat. This is a common discussion on the forum. I bought a Corbin seat. These are very expensive seats, very well-made seats. They're hard as a rock. I keep trying to talk myself into it. Every few weeks I put it on for a couple days and I take it off because it's too hard. What about the Russell? How does it work?
Russell is really nice and soft, and it's got wings on the sides to help support your weight. And
so you like it?
Really nice and soft, yeah.
Okay, what else have you done?
I've got a Jivy top case for some storage on the back, and I've got a Garmin Zumo GPS unit.
Okay, let me just talk for a minute about the top case thing, because again, a lot of people watching the show are not motorcyclists and they don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about the ability to carry things and store things, and Jiva makes a very high quality, I think they're out of Italy?
Yeah.
They make a very high quality set, and they've got a thing called a wing rack, which would be a device, a way of putting a top case on and a side case on each side. And then they have this one, which is not called a wing rack, it's called what? It's a mini rack or something?
I don't know. It was,
But it's Jiva.
Yeah.
It's Jiva, and all this one doesn't have this for the side cases. It's strictly for the top case on the back. And what do you use for side cases?
Just some soft saddlebags.
Okay, and the advantage of the soft bags, of course, is very easy to mount. That you don't have to drill holes or anything. It's just like in a Western movie. You throw them over the horse and be about your business, right?
Right. Easy to take on and off.
Easy to take on and off. Anything else that I've missed here?
Just the GPS unit. I would never gotten down here without that. I'd be lost.
Because they don't have roads in South Dakota.
Yeah, not very many. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
lot more
He's
roads
going to
down
kill me here. But you must have some beautiful riding up there.
Some, yeah. Where I live is very flat.
Oh, is that right? Okay, yeah.
Not much.
That's why this is such a pleasure down here
this
with
is
all
a
these
blast.
mountains. You know, this is very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I came down 421 in Kentucky, and it was 2.5 hours of just unbelievable three-dimensional. I don't think I had more than a minute or 2 minutes at the most in a straight line. It was just constant bends, and it was beautiful.
Yep, it is.
Anything else you want to tell the audience about your bike you think is important that you did to it?
It's just a super reliable bike. I just love it to death. So.
Now, you come down by yourself or with guys?
Down by myself. So.
You know, I'll tell you something. People talk to me about that because I've done several road trip shows for the program, and I always go by myself. And I go by myself for a number of reasons. This is when you start videotaping and everything, you have no idea how much fooling around this is. And believe me, they would stand it for about an hour, and then when they realized they rode 8 minutes and we spent an hour already, and the rest of it was looking at the footage, making sure I got what I needed, and all of that, they get tired. So I kind of like to do it by myself because it takes a lot of patience for that. But something else, I actually like riding by myself. What do you say?
Oh, it's just a lot more fun. You don't have to worry about keeping track of your riding partners and where they're at and
right. You're riding down the road and there's other bikes, and you have to keep some consciousness so you don't run into each other. That okay, I'm so far behind and this guy's so far behind me, and you end up doing that and not looking at the scenery, which is what you want to do.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So you like the solitude of it.
You betcha.
Okay. Anything else? Anything about your ride down that was particularly adventurous, or?
No, it was a pretty smooth sailing. GPS took me on some residential streets sometimes, but it always got me where I wanted to go. So
it'll get you there sometimes. Not the best way you would have picked, but it'll get you there.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for spending a little time with us. Here's a guy all the way from, I guess that we would consider that still America, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
I'm only kidding. From South Dakota, what a ride.
We later learned Kurt really had a ride. In addition to the 2,000 miles he logged coming from South Dakota, his return route took him to Deals Gap, North Carolina, and then to Birmingham, Alabama to check out the new Skip Barber Motorcycle Museum. By the time he returned to Pierre, South Dakota, he'd ridden 4,267 miles in 14 days. But that's not all. It turns out this was his first motorcycle road trip. No question about it, he's an official G-Man. Unfortunately, Bill and May didn't have that kind of time. The G-Men had a nice barbecue planned that night, but Bill and May had to start heading back to Chicago. Bill interviewed as many G-men as he could in the time that he had, but they had to say their goodbyes and get underway.
I don't know if you caught that, but that was K-John waving goodbye. He looked happy, and he has a right to be. The G-Man Rally was a big success, and it was his baby. He couldn't have picked a better location. Even the Little Abner Motel was a great choice. It reminded me a little of my parents' place in upstate New York. Our regular viewers might remember the New York road trip a few years ago when I returned to my boyhood home after a 50-year absence. In that series, I described my parents' restaurant and motel on Route 20 in upstate New York called the Whitestone. The Little Abner Motel reminds me of the Whitestone. Of course, the Whitestone was built in the late 40s and early 50s, so this place was much more modern, but it's pretty cool finding the owners on the premises, just like my parents always used to be. They were very accommodating and genuinely interested in the G's and the G-men. In this age of cookie-cutter, corporately owned motel change, this was really refreshing. Of course, it wasn't just the motel that made it a great location. You don't have to wear a helmet in Kentucky, and that was a big plus for me. It's unlikely I would have attended if Kentucky was a helmet state. What a shame that would have been. I don't know if all of Kentucky looks like this, but this was exceptional. The roads are glass smooth and the scenery speaks for itself. Although keep in mind, television really doesn't do it justice. I don't know if you can feel it, but we're climbing now. It's quite steep and part of the charm of this area. It's three-dimensional. May and I are headed toward a restaurant the G-Men recommended when we got into town last night. Unfortunately, we got here too late and it was closed. We knew we were going to be on the road for many hours today and thought we'd have lunch before setting sail.
We spotted this place last night, but it was closed. It looked nice, and we thought we'd have lunch there before hitting the road. It was really nice and apparently part of the Natural Bridge State Park. After lunch, Bill snapped a pic, and now it was time to make tracks for home.
This is where May and I just ate, and I had a little extra time outside because, of course, she had to do a bathroom break again. Although I must say, she's been pretty good. We went 4 and 5 hours at a stretch, and she didn't have to stop, so not bad. Yeah, I thought this circled around behind the place, but I guess it doesn't. Well, maybe it does. Oh, I don't think I can go in there. Let's see. Trails are part of the natural environment. Visitors must be prepared to meet and accept nature at its own terms. Stay on the designated trails. Ah, okay. It's for walking. I should have known. It's beautiful, though. It's absolutely gorgeous. These are apparently, and I'm going to sound stupid because I should have been paying more attention, apparently these are the Blue Ridge Mountains. Apparently these are the Blue Ridge Mountains. Boy, there's one of those Subaru SVXs. I haven't seen one of those in 20 years. That's a very rare piece with a horizontally opposed 6-cylinder double overhead cam 4-valve per cylinder engine. Only made a few years, but wasn't really appreciated by the public, but a technical masterpiece as far as fitting a front engine double overhead cam opposed 6-cylinder. Very difficult to fit that in the chassis. They went through a lot of work to do the engineering right. It's a little hard to explain how pretty this is, and I know that television doesn't do it justice. It never does. All I can tell you is that this is highly recommended, this area, even not just for a bike trip, but for people with cars. And I get a kick out of the speed limit. I don't know if you can see that or not. Speed limit 23 miles an hour. Apparently they got it down to a science. Not 25, not 20, but 23 miles an hour. And I know this doesn't show on the air because it never does, but boy, it really is steep. We're still on a very steep downhill here. exceeded 23 miles an hour. I hope nobody was watching. Very, very pretty in here. As I understand it, according to the other guys that were from the group, they were breaking up. That's why I didn't get everybody on. That's why I didn't get everybody on, because they were breaking up into small groups and going riding in the mountains. And as I understand, these roads go on for hundreds of miles here in these mountains. And I'm telling you, it'll take your breath away beautiful. It's very pretty. I can see why K-John picked this area. Bikers will ride a long way to get a ride like this. This is really well worth it. If May and I had more time, unfortunately we've got to get back to Chicago. If May and I had more time, I'd do some exploring of some of these mountain roads. There's the little Abner Motel where we stayed, and still quite a few of the bikes there. Of course, they'll be coming and going all day, exploring the mountain roads and all that. As I said, May and I have to get back to Chicago. The event is actually a 3-day event. This gets us back to getting on this Burt Combs, I hope I'm saying that right, Burt Combs Mountain Parkway in Kentucky, which is, it's pretty in here and everything, but it's pretty much like we always talk about the interstates, pretty much the same as all interstates are. There's no question you can make time. I think I'm going to pull into the gas station and check the air in the tires and before we set sail. So I think I'll do that rather than jump on the highway. We're going to be in the saddle for a while.
Bill likes to keep an eye on things like tire pressures. He says few people realize how important tire pressure is, but it can make a world of difference in performance and tire wear, motorcycle or car. Anyway, after checking the tire pressures, he and May jumped on the Burt Combs Mountain Parkway, left the Slade, Kentucky area, and worked their way back to I-64. Then it was I-64 west past Lexington and on to the Kentucky state capital, Frankfort, where he picked up the road he talked about so much earlier, 421. He proceeded north on 421 and was once again reminded of how delightful the ride was on the way down. He kept an eye out for a place to pull over and tape a little of it to give you an idea of what he was talking about. It wasn't easy. It's a very rural area, and Suzuki GSX1100G is a heavy motorcycle. You don't just pull off onto the dirt. You really need a little pavement to put the bike on the stand and set up the helmet cam. After a time, he found what he was looking for. Enjoy.
Well, folks, I've been looking for 15 or 20 minutes for a place to pull over so I could set up the helmet cam and start taping again. This is that 421 in Kentucky that I was talking. I think I've mentioned it a couple times in some of the interviews, and what a delight this is. And as soon as you enter it, coming out of Frankfort, Kentucky is the capital, unbeknownst to me, May knew all that stuff, but Frankfort is the capital of Kentucky. And just as soon as you come out of Frankfort, 420, or going the other way around when you come from the Kentucky border, Kentucky-Indiana border, just as soon as you get on 421, going either way, it's about 2.5 hours of just absolutely the best in twisting scenery, twisting and turning. Unbelievably picturesque. Right now we're in almost like what I would almost call like a garden area. Very pretty. Around every bend it's a new scenic delight. Sometimes you're going through areas that's been cut through sort of rock-like areas, and it's almost like going into canyons and caves. It's absolutely beautiful. And I finally, after 15 or 20 minutes, I spotted a place where I could pull over to hook up the helmet cam here to show you a little bit of it. And that's what I'm doing now. What a delight this is. Highly, highly recommended. I must tell you that Kentucky is a very pretty state. Haven't been here before. When I was racing motorcycles, we raced a couple of times a half-mile track called Henderson, Kentucky. But when you're racing, you're not really paying any attention at all to the scenery on the way or anything. You're so focused on making sure your equipment is ready and finding out what time you're supposed to sign up and all that. But you don't pay attention to anything else. This is the first time I've really been in Kentucky, actually paying attention to Kentucky. What a beautiful state this is. It really is. Of course, this presents me with the same old problem. How can I communicate just how cool this is? As I said before, motorcycling is a visceral experience, yet I'm trying to bring it to you with images and sounds. The joy of riding is the assault of all of the senses, yet I can't show you how this feels, or smells, or even tastes. I believe if you really try, your imagination can fill in the blanks. For example, as we meander along this road, take a look at the shadows from the trees. On television, it just looks like the pavement changes colors. On the bike, as you duck quickly in and out of these shadows, the warmth of the sun is turned off and on. On a hot day like this, the momentary loss of sun is like a gentle, refreshing slap, again and again. It's so prominent on the bike, yet the viewer at home is completely unaware of it. Similarly, when the sun ducks behind a cloud, the loss of heat on your exposed skin is a welcome relief. Again, if you don't use your imagination, you won't feel it. Even more difficult is trying to imagine the pull of gravity. As we bank right and left, the force of gravity is quite noticeable on the bike. The same goes for cresting a hill or feeling the compression at the bottom of a dip. All I can ask you to do is to use your imagination. Try to feel everything. Feel the sun, feel the shade, feel the force as we bank right and left and up and down. If you have any time left over, try to think of what aromas might be part of the scene. The country is full of delicious aromas to savor, and they come at you as fast as the sun and shade. Try it. Try to feel it. Let me add a little music to help. We have a perfect piece written and performed just for Motorsports Unlimited by the great Roger Pauly. was our friend Roger Pauley performing Motorcycle Man, a piece he wrote especially for us. Now, did you feel the coolness as the sun went behind the clouds? I can tell you, May and I were grateful for a little relief from the sun on this beautiful afternoon. The sun was so intense, I had to stop and put on a white long-sleeve shirt to prevent sunburn. I sure hope you're able to put yourself on the bike with us. It's a lot more fun that way. Come on, try again. Use your imagination. Motorcycling is about feeling as much as it is about looking and hearing.
Spotted a little bit of paved area along the road on this Kentucky hilltop and wanted to take a moment to chat about what we were experiencing.
Well, folks, I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what 421 is like in Kentucky. I'm telling you, it is absolutely sensational. I don't think I had any place on this road that was even close to a minute long that was straight. It's left, right, up, down. It's so picturesque and so pretty. I hope we captured enough of it, and I hope television does it justice. It normally doesn't. You really have to see this yourself to appreciate it. It's just a spectacular roadway, and it doesn't go on. We're not talking 10, 15 minutes. This roadway goes on for 2.5 hours. When I came down from Chicago coming the other way, I was so taken by it, I wanted to come back and go the same way. Now, we found a little time here, a little space to pull off, and it's not easy. There's not a lot of space to pull off here, and I almost didn't think I was going to be able to shoot the piece here, and why is that, May?
The cows are mooing very loudly.
I couldn't believe it. Right directly across the street from here were the cows, and I've never heard cows this noisy. It's like they were annoyed that we were here. And then the farmer came by, a fellow named Darrell, and talked to us a little bit, and he says, no, he says, it's lunchtime. He said, I'm about to feed them, and he says, they know it, and they gather by the fence, and they keep mooing until we bring the feed over, and he brought the feed over and fed them, and he was right. They quieted right down. Absolutely spectacular. Now, there's a couple things that I want to pick up on here before we move on. May, we've been talking, this was a G rally for Suzuki GSX1100Gs. It was a G rally, and we've been saying the G's this, the G's that, but did you know there's a whole bunch of G's, not just these G's?
No.
No. Well, okay, for example, the black bike that I have, that's a GS650G, and they made those in 650s, 850s, 900s, 1000s, a whole range of them. And the ones that had shaft drives were Gs, like my black one is a 650G. So the G, and now this is not motorcycles universally, just in Suzuki language, every time they put the G at the end of the nomenclature, that means it's a shaft drive rather than a chain drive. So we've been talking the entire program, or 2 programs, or however long this thing comes out, we've been talking about the Gs, the Gs, the Gs, and the fact of the matter is, there's more than one kind of G, but the only one we really care about, the spectacular one, is this one, the one we call the Big G. The Big G, this was the most powerful high-performance touring bike ever produced. It's outrageously fast, and it has captured the hearts of enthusiasts, and that's why 15 years after they stopped making them, we have a rally where people come literally, not just from all over the country. A fellow came from Singapore just to acknowledge these machines and all that. That's a pretty strong following, don't you think, after all these years?
Very much so.
Okay, we got to get back to Chicago. What do you think? Did you understand all that about the Gs and all what it means? It means the shaft drive in Suzuki language. What do you think? We got to get going back to Chicago, huh?
Yes, it's really hot.
Well, and it's really hot today. By the way, we got none of the bad weather people were talking about. They said there was going to be violent weather and violent thunder. So we've had nothing but beautiful weather the whole time. And I hope, by the way, while I'm talking right now, and you got to remind me to do this before we pull up stakes here, I want to make sure I pan the scenery around here. I want you to see the cows a little, or at least where the cows were and all that. All I can say is you've got to come down to this area in order to enjoy it and appreciate it. Television, really, it's always disappointing to me when I start editing these programs that we just don't do it justice. This is such a delight down here. But we better get going, huh, May?
I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go? And by the way, you can't weigh anything. I can't even tell she's behind me on the bike. It's absolutely amazing. And you have enough room. You're so little, you can move all over.
I tried.
Yeah, she actually gets her exercise back there. I can feel her moving around on me. Anyway, we're going to continue on north now and see how far we can get today before we have to call it a day. And then tomorrow night we'll be back in Chicago.
Every time Bill shoots a program, he ends up kicking himself for missing something. In this case, he wished he'd interviewed the farmer, Daryl. Bill says he was a terrific guy who was the kind of person you run into on these trips who make them special and reaffirms your faith in humanity. The first question he asked Daryl was why the cows were mooing so loudly, and offered he and May thought maybe they were disturbing them. Daryl responded, "No, you're not bothering them. It's dinner time for my girls." That's what Bill liked. He called them his girls. He went on to say the little ones, the calves, are so cute he often gives them a hug just for the heck of it. Bill asked him if people who live around here actually appreciate how beautiful it is, or do you take it for granted after a while? Daryl said there isn't a day that goes by that he doesn't get up and look around and realize how lucky he is to be here. There is more, of course, but you get the idea. He even offered to take Bill and May to another pasture where he had more cows to feed. He thought maybe they would like to film it. Unfortunately, it would have involved taking the Big G down a dirt path, and for all its attributes, it's not a dirt bike. Anyway, they had to get going. But Bill's been kicking himself ever since. It's not often you run into a happy, satisfied man, and he missed the opportunity to put him on the air. Who knows, maybe next time. Bill and May continued north on 421, enjoying the beautiful scenery. In a couple of hours, they found themselves approaching the Kentucky-Indiana border.
Now we're approaching the Ohio River. I guess it is the Ohio River again that represents the border between Kentucky and Indiana. And I noticed something when we went through here the other way the other day. There were several signs saying runaway truck zone ahead. And I'm saying to myself, runaway truck zone. What could they mean by runaway truck zone? And there were 2 or 3 signs warning of that, plus the steep grade. I know this never shows on television, but right now this is quite a steep grade coming down here. And when we were coming back, it dawned on me, I know what the runaway truck zone is. See again, here's a steep grade thing. Trucks use lower gear.
And again, this is fairly steep coming down here. Not super steep, but fairly steep. Where a truck could get into trouble with his brakes and all if he didn't use lower gears. But once again, the sign on the right says runaway truck ramp half a mile. All right, we will take a look and see what this runaway truck ramp is. Again, it's quite steep all the way down. And if you look straight ahead, now obviously we're going to turn because the road goes to the left, but if you look straight ahead, that's that runaway truck ramp where the trucks have their brakes are completely gone and they can't stop and make the curve. They can go straight there and get control of their truck and come to a stop and then turn it around. Pretty good thinking, I think. And we'll now be leaving Kentucky. Really a beautiful setting here. I don't know, again, television doesn't do these things justice, but it's very, very pretty.
Kentucky adventure next week. But we're out of time this week with only enough left to acknowledge the fine work of our award-winning production team. Tom McGrady, Art Lauschat, our webmaster Frank Barbalace, and Sue Casanda. Special thanks to JBTV's Jerry Bryant. Music is created for us by independent artists Roger Pauley and Jerry Herbert. Of course, we have to take a moment to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Janine Lauschat, May Chin, and our host, Bill Wildt. Me, I'm Samantha Bentley, really enjoying the scenery along with you. Someday I'll have to try it. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grant Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
This program made possible in part by support from the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade held on Western Avenue in Chicago, the first Sunday in December.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wildt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois. This program made possible in part by support from PB Food Products, located on 47th Street at Western Avenue in Chicago, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, we'll conclude our Kentucky G-Man adventure. As you can see, the terrain has changed. We're on I-65 in Indiana, headed home. We're going to miss the beautiful rolling countryside of Kentucky, but the good news is it's only a day's ride from Chicago. Join us next week as we return home and reflect on the 4-day, 1,000-mile motorcycle road trip, all next week on Motorsports Unlimited.
So that's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited and the lovely ladies of motorsports. And be with us next week because we'll have something real exciting. Bill Wildt's going to have the lovely ladies, and just about anything can happen right here on Motorsports Unlimited. Every week at this time, we bring you the best in motorsports. So be seeing ya. Bye-bye. And keep on rocking.